anything like that. We don't want anyone going around saying, I'm a schizophrenic, I'm a bipolar, I'm a personality disorder, whatever. But, I have this, I've had this. Maybe you want to put it in the past. People, if you're in middle or late stages of recovery, you can say, I have dealt with this. But I've dealt with it by doing this, I've dealt with it and I've been successful at it. Action, taking steps to contribute to others gives meaning to life. And again, identify positive role models. We encourage people to try work, education, fellowship, spirituality, become a member of a social group, and assume a role in the group. Disability and dignity. Dignity depends on functioning well, and so it is contrary to disability. That's an English, thing. I don't know that it applies in Hebrew, but clearly disability is defined that way. The more one functions, we all know this, that the more one functions well, the more one achieves a sense of dignity and respect. So those are things that you're going to try to continue to instill in your clients. And dignity does, having a sense of dignity, reclaiming your dignity, can assist the person in overcoming the barriers of stigma. Internalized dignity is the best antidote to internalized stigma. And it's always important to throw on Dr. Viktor Frankl sometimes, especially in a non-Jewish and secular audience. They know very well who he is and about things that happened in the Holocaust. So I try to share that he describes how people, even in the most savaged and disgraceful situations, were able to hold on to their dignity. So if you have this idea in mind when you're talking to your clients about, they had some terrible things and happened to them, but maybe they give a lot of tzedakah. I know clients who give more tzedakah than anybody I know. They have less dollars, but they go out and they give a lot of, they give coins to people on the street. So some survivors, he spoke about obviously how some survivors would sacrifice their morsel of food to give it to a baby or another, or to give encouragement in the face of evil or death, which gave meaning and survival value to a person's life, to people's lives. And one of the things that really comes out of this is assisting people in having a spiritual attitude. It has nothing to do with any specific religion. But I know that I have, and most people have probably read, parents who have a severely disabled child or an autistic child or Down syndrome, and often they will wind up saying, this baby, this child taught me so much. Having this illness taught me so much. It taught me to be more patient, more loving, kinder to others. So trying to look at how that applies to oneself having a mental disability. Maybe it allows you to have special, unique understanding of people and things. Self-worth and dignity. Finding the meaning in your life and share it. Holding a vision of recovery, that's a really important thing with clients. Assisting your clients to empower themselves to maintain dignity while living with some symptoms of the disability. Because we know that many symptoms do not just totally disappear. Whoa! Surviving and thriving. Okay, having a mental disability is a lot like being a survivor. Recovery involves personal strength, compassion, and self-worth, and facing life's challenges one step at a time takes courage, and courage takes commitment, self-responsibility, and hope. So hopefully that's one way of looking at helping people to reclaim their sense of dignity. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. It's really a very simple concept, but it's something that we use constantly with peer advocates and with staff as well. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Yeah. I left everyone speechless. Yes.
This is more a question to Enosh than to you. I wonder if there are steps that can be taken to move from disability to dignity because currently the whole system in Israel is based on disability. You need to have 40% disability to be entitled to help and so on. And I saw it like a challenge, what steps can be taken to do this transformation.
It's a question for ביטוח לאומי, not the...
And having the disability card not necessarily means that you need to start from disability to rehabilitation or to dignity. You can have the card, get the money, and still in your mind use the dignity way. So
we have a similar thing. Our consumers have entitlements. They get Social Security insurance if they have a severe and persistent mental illness, and that assists them in at least living marginally, being able to pay some rent and food, etc. But I don't know if it's different. You don't have to show it to anybody or tell anybody, but it does sometimes impair their willingness to go to work when they are capable, because it's like any other welfare benefit. You get a benefit or an entitlement, maybe you get an entry-level job and you lose the benefit, you might lose the job too, so then what happens? So we have to do a lot of work in advocating. And the other thing I didn't write down there that I think is really important is to encourage your clients to advocate against stigma. We do have recovery panels, and the panels consist of consumers who have recovered or are well into their recovery, and they go around and present to various groups, whether it's legislative groups or businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, schools, parent groups. So that goes.
What do you suggest to do against self-stigma? But in the beginning, not when you start improving. Self-stigma really deep.
And I think that, I showed that it takes a lot to overcome. I mean, that picture to me was very revealing. It takes a great deal to overcome the sense of shame that one has, and especially in situations where a society might be more closed and family is also experiencing a great deal of shame. So, hopefully you're working with the person to identify what their strengths are, focusing on the positive. Well, let's look at what your strengths are. Let's look at, you love your brother or sister, that's fantastic. And get them to see themselves in a more positive light by us focusing on the positive. Focusing on the deficits and negative is really makes a person very hopeless.
I'm wondering, it's a question of experience, whether not having dignity is only to do with the stigma. Is it the sickness of the society, or is it indeed a part of the of the mentally sick?
Of the mental illness. Well, I think that I think we all know that a person with mental illness lacks self-esteem. And right there can be, a sort of a root cause of lacking. If you're lacking in dignity, you're lacking self-respect, you're lacking a sense of self-worth. So we, as practitioners, what is it our job to do to help the person to focus on their strengths and their abilities so that they can feel better about themselves, give them, help them go to social clubs where other people can validate them, give them positive feedback. So it may, it's a part of, it may be a symptom of the illness, but it's very, very much tied to the stigma that is external. But yes, there's definitely internalized stigma. So a person's going to feel helpless and a lack of self-worth if they're not able to do anything except lie in bed and look at the TV. So we gotta get them to do some other things, and like Anat said, you know, we can have plans, but they can not be the right ones also. We may have to wait and go at the person's pace. But I think that is our job, is to try and transform that lack of self-worth and the lack of self-esteem. And again, it does relate back to the loss of status. A person with a mental disability has lost many opportunities. Maybe they can't get married, they can't find a shidduch, you know, they can't have children or whatever. And how are they gonna feel against their peers? You know, they're always gonna feel one down unless they can begin to look at, you know, ways in which their uniqueness or difference has made them a better person, or has allowed them to contribute. Maybe if they go on and become a peer counselor and work in one of Enosha's clubs, they find a great deal of meaning. Actually, I talk about one person who, in terms of the value of work, you know, there was one client I knew who was had such a lack of self-esteem and self-worth and felt meaningless and hopeless about her life. And then finally, she decided she had a passion for getting up at 4 in the morning for some reason. So she would go to a food bank and bring food to the other consumers in the clubs. We don't call them clubs, but similar to the centers, community centers. And she became this person that everybody had such gratitude towards, because she was bringing food. And she said to me that that was the one thing that got her up in the morning, was the feeling that she could be a help to others, that she could bring food, because she drove a car to these clubs and everybody would have the bagels in the morning and the cream cheese and thank her, and it turned out actually it worked into a job at the agency. You know, what we do frequently is when a person, you spoke of entrepreneurship, but when a person starts something like that, they're creating a job for themselves. The need was there, they filled the need. We see that the agency has this need for that, and then we find some way to make that into a position and get the person paid. So, you know, it's kind of a cycle of give and take. Well, I've learned a lot by being here today, actually. Thank you very much, all of you. I think the work you're doing here is amazing, and I've learned so much.
Thank you. Okay, we would like to continue a few minutes, okay? Daphna, do you want to speak about the floods?
Yes, I wanted to read something that I wrote, and maybe it will give you an idea of how what's going on there and stuff. My name is Daphna, and I'm in the English speaking group. We have a social English speakers club. We had a very nice Who's better? So our first madricha, she was here from 2004 to 2008, and her name was Nama. She was the one who started with everything. And before she left, she wanted to make we used to write poetry there, and she just, as a gift, she just put all the things together, like for a goodbye, something, a goodbye present. It was very sweet, very sweet. Yeah, so kind of I wanted to read what I wrote. It's a trip scenario. Okay, this trip made me look at things in a sharper way. All blurriness is dismissed, and I see things in the right proportion. It brought me closer to the people I love, more connected to my truth. It took away the blurry scarf upon my eyes, took away light white transparent cloth gently and softly as a fairy's touch. Like a theater stage after people have gone away and the curtains of the heart revealed. You yourself are 100% clear and true, you. with all the background support and without all the background support and artificial makeup. Just a pure inner seed to put in a treasure box, a safe box, a durable box, stronger than ever, with lots of roots under the ground. I feel we all need one another. We have the same needs, same hopes, and there is something very grounding about us all. Together we could move mountains, just with love, respect, and work, to be stronger, to go out to the real world, to accomplish our potential through attention to each one of us, and support each other, enrich ourselves through others. We are heading to a greater place, changing inside, and this is reflected outside, on a path of life, just moving forward. Thank you for being with me, and good luck to all of us. Each of you add something to the group. Hopefully that will continue. All the best, yours, Beth.
Done.
Hi, my name is Hamutal. I run one of the social clubs here, so I'm Daphna. And to tell you a little bit more about the social clubs here. We have 5 clubs in Jerusalem. One of them is the English Speakers Club, where Daphna is. One of them is the Anat Center for Art, that you'll hear more about from Hiraz. She's the manager and will collaborate a little bit more. And the 3 that's left are separated by age in the region in Jerusalem where they are. So everyone has a place where they need to get help, to get their support. Our 2 main goals are to raise the level of independence among the club members and practice appropriate social behavior. While aiming for those high goals, we are well aware of the people's needs to see the club as their place for fun and leisure. So our perspective is that personal and group social rehabilitation should be integrated with enjoyable activity, okay? So during the afternoon, they come to the club. They have time to chat with each other, to play some board games. And as well time for group conversation and special gatherings. We have volunteers here, we have students that are sent from the university to do their field work here, and they sometimes do also gatherings like that. And also we have activities outside the club. We go for day trips to the beach. We went to Tel Aviv the other day and the Dead Sea. Sometimes we go to the movies, to drink coffee, to the museum. Okay? And also once a year we have a 3 to 4 day vacation. We just had a vacation this week in Haifa, so we just came back and it was wonderful. When asking club members about the club, many of them say it feels like their second home. So that's something that is really important. They come here to meet their friends, get moral and emotional support, as well as useful advice from friends and from staff. Many times they ask for a private conversation to help them with certain things with their lives, things they don't want to talk about with their therapist, or just something that is very small, and they feel comfortable to come to us. They care a lot about the other members, about the good management of the place. They have lots of advice to how to improve things if they see something wrong. This year the members chose a committee of friends to take care of their interests and help executing their ideas. The committee gathers once a week, and it's accompanied by one of the counselors. Okay, so basically what they do, they talk about the ideas that club members need, anything they feel they want to improve. And then they help to execute it. They come to the board, they ask Ami for stuff. They are like the hand to, I don't know how to put it. You can, right? Okay. like I said, the feeling they have that the social club is their second home makes it possible to work on behavioral issues like proper conversation. During the gatherings, we sit and talk. Things arise, okay? Sometimes they need to go very urgently to do something. And we talk about what's the proper way to have a conversation, what's the proper way to deal with situations that arise, how to do it with respect, how to do it in a dignified way, okay? If you need help, how you ask for help in a dignified way. All these things are things in the club while having fun. I mean, that's the main goal, to have fun, take care of the place, feel that it's your place, being independent. If you need something, you take money from us and you go to buy it yourself. If you need to, if there's, I don't know, milk missing or coffee, we don't do it for them, they do it themselves. And that's basically the main goal of the social clubs. Elias will elaborate for a few minutes just about the math center, the homework. So thank you very much.
Thank you for everybody.
I wanted to just say one more thing. I also wanted to thank Warren ISPRA for arranging my visit here. I really appreciate it. ISPRA is a wonderful organization. I'm sure you are all aware of that. And one last thing I thought of, which I didn't put on the PowerPoint, but it occurred to me that stigma of mental illness is one of the last unaddressed prejudices. Prejudice about racism, ageism, sexism, even homophobia, even cancer used to be stigmatized. You know, some people still don't even say the word. They say you're not allowed to say the word, just say C. And AIDS. I mean, AIDS, the body politic of AIDS, they got so that a person with AIDS is not stigmatized. And, you know, so it's a very important process that we have to work on, both with our consumers dealing with their personal reactions to it and with the broader community, and it has to be done through advocacy. I know that all of you had shared the same thing, but I want to share that as well.
And
Thank you.
Professionals.
רוצה להפוך לה את אותה זנה?
כן.
אורן, הבנתי את האנגלית.